All right, there's been some questions asking if there are any videos out there about how to cut out the scrapbook layout once you have saved it. So I thought I would do that real quick this morning. I created an Easter layout just real quick to show some of the different things that I look for when I am changing a layout before I make it. So we're going to go with this. The first thing I do is I'm going to get rid of some things because I'm not going to cut them out. And the first thing I'm always going to do is get rid of that 12 by 12 paper, the 12 by 12 squares in the background. I have 12 by 12 paper. That's what I'm going to use as my base for my layouts. So not only will it not cut those out, but I don't need them. So I am not going to save this layout once I'm all done with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete these. If you don't want to delete them, when you click on that square, it highlights it over here, and you could certainly just hide it. But like I said, I'm not going to save this when I'm all done, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete them. I'm also going to delete the photo boxes. While I like them in there for the design of it, I know that I'm going to use that color of paper. I like to cut my mats down to the size of my photos, not try to make my photos fit on a certain size of a mat. So I'm also going to get rid of those, and I'll just get out a piece of paper and have that ready to mat my photos in that color. So the next thing I need to do, when I created this, I knew I wanted to use pattern paper in my layout. And so for the design of it and to express that to other people that, hey, I want this to be a printed paper, I changed these squares to pattern paper. And to change it back, you're going to click on the item over in the layers menu, and it's going to pop out another menu. And where up here it's selected that it's going to be print, I'm going to change it to cut. And it changes it to a dark gray shape, which is totally fine. If I had that color in my layout elsewhere, I would change the color, but because I don't, I'm going to leave it as gray. I mean, you could certainly change it to purple, and then that's where your purple pattern paper is going to go. I'm also going to do that to my other one. And there, I changed them to purple. And again, I am going to still use printed pattern paper, but I'm going to use it from my cardstock supply instead of trying to print, which I believe that square is too big anyway. So now I'm almost ready, but the one thing I'm doing is looking at these images up here. I'm going to change some colors. So I'm going to go over here to the color sync menu. And if you look at all these different, for each row of these, that is a different mat that you're going to have to cut. And for one, I'm not a fan of this orangish color here, and I think it would look better to be that pink color. So you can do one of two things. I am going to take both this stripe and that egg. So I could just take this entire line, but I'm going to show you, you can just drag one item. So you're going to drag it down, and I'm going to make it pink. And then I'm going to also take those stripes and drag those down. So now they're pink, and I like that they match the background more than I liked that orange color. Now if we look at this menu over here, let's look at this blue, for example. There's the blue in this egg, and there's the blue in that egg. That blue is almost identical. Because those are two separate images, Cricut assigned them different colors, or whoever created that image made them different colors. That's just how it goes. But I don't have two blues that are that different. And to save time, there's no need to load that on two mats, so I'm just going to drag that up there. Also, if you look at the grass and then that egg right here, that is awfully close to the same color. So I'm going to drag this up here. And when I'm dragging, I always am looking at the layout to see that it doesn't change it too much. Another thing, we've got this yellow here and the yellow here. They're close enough in color that I am just going to keep them the same. And then for these two, I can also drag this one down and make them the same. So now if you look, I have a lot fewer pieces of paper and mats that I'm going to have to load. And that's going to save me time in creating this. And the point is to create a scrapbook, so while I want great layouts, I also don't want to spend hours on each one. So then when I'm ready, I can hit Make It. And it's going to load my mats. And then I'm going to cut those out. Now this is the screen that if you had a scrap of paper that you had for this yellow, and it would work better for this to go down here, you could certainly move that. If you needed to turn it so it would fit on your paper, you could do that. And you do need to go through and do each mat. So, you can move these any way you want. You can also change, maybe you're going to use, excuse me, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So you're going to change that. You do have to do each one at this point. So just go through, click through. Unfortunately, you can't get those closer. But just go through, and if you want to move things around, you can do that, and then you're ready to continue. My machine isn't turned on or hooked up, so I can't get to that point, but it's going to talk you through. It'll tell you to load the mat. It will cut it out. And when you're done, you'll finish. You'll go back to your layout. Now, if you look at mine, I've kind of made a mess of it. So you could go back into your projects and open that layout again and not make any, and open it. Don't save this one, but just replace what layout is here, and it will bring it back up as a new layout again. Hopefully this helps some of you that have never done this before.